Drag Story Hour protests continue in the city.
Opposing protests turned vicious Thursday.
Protests in Manhattan, in Queens, and across the country.
The impetus, a drag story hour scheduled in the Library for Families. On one side of the street, LGBTQ allies, and on the other, anti-drag protesters.
Our rights, not to try to fight each other. That's the realize you didn't touch me, you didn't touch me.
I've been on the other side. I was super left-wing. I've been supportive of everything that we're fighting against. Now I feel like I don't fit any side. I still feel like I'm lost. Yeah, it's kind of my transition to being, politically homeless.
I first found drag through Drag Race. I was a Drag Race kid. Season 4 was the first season I watched, like, from the beginning, religiously all the way through. I was a tomboy, basically, from the day I was born.
I've had friends and I've had family that don't support what I do. And they used to ask me, hey, maybe take a step back. What we're fighting is indoctrinating children into a specific ideology based off of our community.
Good morning, New York. So today's the day. Come join us and letting them know that drag is not for kids and never will be.
Drag Story Hour introduces these type of ideas to very little children, and that's the harm for it.
Drag is up for kids! 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 Drag is up for kids!
I've always enjoyed working with children. I worked and volunteered at my theater company with the younger kids, helping out with that. I used to volunteer at my temple, working with some of the preschoolers. So Drag Story Hour seemed like a great way of being involved with kids and teaching them about this art form that I had committed several years of my life to. They are convinced that we are groomers, that we are pedophiles, that we are doing drag, or specifically Drag Story Hour, to lure children in and do something insidious. Because most of the people that are complaining about Drag Story Hour, they've never gone to Drag Story Hour. They don't actually know what we do. And what we do is the exact same things that happens at your libraries, is we read stories and we sing songs. We're just in a sillier costume and we've got makeup on, but we're not doing anything differently than the story hours at bookstores or at libraries. I usually say something along the lines of, drag is whatever you want it to be. There's no set rules to drag, and if anyone tells you there are, they're wrong. Drag doesn't have to be gender-based, but it can. It's all about putting on the costume or the outfit that makes you feel powerful or confident or gorgeous or handsome, and just reveling in feeling whatever it is that you're feeling.
I just want them to know that it has nothing to do with hate. This is out of love. Like, I love my community. I love the kids that we have in our country. Like, I once was a little kid too. Like, I'm doing this for the kids. I'm doing this for us.
We've done it.
Right here. My name is Amara Jones. I am a journalist and the founder and CEO of Translash Media, which uses the power of a variety of platforms to center the humanity of trans people in order to end violence and protect democracy. My entire life has been about the power of storytelling that's grounded in real stories and grounded in fact in order to be able to transform people and societies. Gays Against Groomers, they don't actually see a difference between drag and being trans for a variety of reasons. For them, they are both about being outside and violating the gender binary, which for them is sacrosanct. It's also the most visible representation they can get because, let's face it, you can't always look at a trans person and tell that they're trans, right? Trans people don't have pink, white, and blue flags that magically float over our heads when we walk down the street. So it's hard, it can be hard from their standpoint to stereotype trans people and to make trans people scary. But they can do that with drag from their standpoint because that's an easy thing for them to visualize and say, hey, this is something that you should be frightened of. I think that the thing to remember about social media, it allows for the instantaneous, unchecked reach of propaganda, manipulation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. That just turbocharges anti-trans rhetoric, which is an essential ingredient to anti-trans hate and to creating the public conversation that's necessary to get bills to move and to enact policies against trans people that are damaging. And we know that the more controversial, the more outrageous, the angrier, the more violent, the more extreme the content of any social media post, the better it does. So it is a platform that is almost tailor-made for the proliferation of these ideas that are disproven, false, outrageous, and that's why they're so powerful, and that's why all these groups have proliferated and are part of turbocharging the anti-trans push in the country.
My grandpa's Panamanian, my grandma's Trinidadian. So big family, there was always somebody home and somebody else. Like there was always family, friends around, raised that way. Super family oriented, super Christian household, church on every Sunday. I was definitely a Jesus freak for a few years, like no lie. I was committed. Like I believed everything that they told me. Oh, you're going to hell if you do this. Blah, 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 you have to be saved. You know, it gave me a kind of spiritual foundation now, which has been very good because when you deal with what I'm dealing with, feels like spiritual warfare a lot. I wish it didn't affect how I viewed my sexuality early on. Like just having those feelings, I felt like, oh no, like that, let's just not think about that. Now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I've always had an inkling of me liking the same sex at some point. Looking at it now, I'm like, no one should feel shame for that, right? My ex-boyfriend told my dad, like at my 21st birthday, that like I liked women. And they caught me looking at a woman. Like, but it was funny because my dad was looking at the same woman too. So like my ex looked at both of us and was just like laughing because he's like, oh my God, it's so funny. You guys find the same woman attractive. And he's like, oh yeah, Maya likes girls. And my dad's like, please, like the sky's blue. And like he's never made it a big deal. And to this day, we'll never like talk about it. Not unless I bring like a girl home, like I'm seriously dating her. He's like, yeah, I've seen stories that you post. And he always understands where I'm coming from. And I just like, I love that. It was just nice to hear that because like I was nervous to have this conversation with him about it. And I was just like, fuck, like what is he gonna, like where's this gonna go? I don't want this to go left. Like I'm not trying to fight. I just want him to like be okay with what I'm doing. He's fine. He just wants me to be safe. That's his main concern.
They're not only talking to the millions of people out in the country, they're also signaling to other parts of the Christian nationalist movement the places that they should be concerned about, the people that they should be concerned about, and where they should be directing their attention and resources. The whole point of these organizations is to manipulate and to turn those who are manipulated into a political and a cultural force.
Hello, Mother.
Hello, Bear.
Yeah, my parents are awesome. I'm very, very lucky to have the family support that I have from my parents. They've never had an issue with any part of my being, whether it's my gender or being a obnoxious teenager.
You were always a very positive, confident person, even when you were struggling with who you were gender-wise and sexually-wise.
Yeah.
You always were true to yourself. People made fun of you all through school, the way you dressed, and it never fazed you.
It took a lot to actually make me upset, and it wasn't going to be from someone telling me I look like Lady Gaga. That was a compliment. So my mom used to be very anti-drag.
Well, my notion of what drag was very limited.
Right.
You know, in my experience, drag was female impersonation. I didn't like it because I felt like it was demeaning to women, that men were dressing up and playing these exaggerated versions of women who should be respected.
I sent you the first paper I wrote on drag, and that really started to change your mind about how you thought about it.
One thing I remember clearly is that I had never heard of a drag king.
Yeah.
And this paper made me realize that no, it was more like just taking on an alter ego or a different identity through clothing and makeup. I think Drag Story Hour is just a fascinating, wonderful program. I'm aware that these things can be dangerous. I'm aware that there can be angry protesters and, you know, even violent protesters someday. I don't know. Hopefully not.
We're going to stop child sexual mutilation. We're going to stop it because it's time.
I think that one of the things that's really important that's absolutely breaking through is the degree to which anti-trans rhetoric is a part of the presidential campaign. We have a major candidate for president, namely in the form of Donald Trump, who has made being anti-trans a part of his top 4 talking points as to why he should be president. We've seen that in presidential debates, we've seen that in speeches, we've seen that in the acceptance speech, we see that in the platform of that party. And we know that a lot of that rhetoric that Trump is using actually comes from various places on social media, like the organizations that we're talking about, which shows there's a conversation between former President Trump and these organizations. So I think that that's the thing that we have to be paying attention to in a way that it wasn't in 2016, in a way that it wasn't in 2022 in the midterm elections. And I think that that shift is potentially explosive.
Just real quick before I go, protest fit. Have to bring out the fro, channeling the peaceful Angela Davis. So this is the protest. This is what we're dealing with right now. Drag is not for kids. Hey, Justin. Groomers go home!
Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home! Groomers go home!
Interesting. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that in so long. When I was assaulted as a teenager, I was sent to, I can't even believe I'm laughing at this, but I was sent to go to my aunt's house for a few days because the situation, my mom had a not best reaction to me being assaulted and telling her about what I was doing, what was happening. So she sent me to live with my aunt for like that week or so because like I had a breakdown. All this happened because I had a breakdown at school and I started to fail, and I tried to like hide the fact that like I got assaulted from my parents and just all this shit. Didn't work out well. So I went to my aunt, and Sunday was rolling around, and the pastor is like just out of the blue starts talking about like how can someone like hurt a child, like how can someone rape somebody like that, and I'm just like, how the hell do you like how did this even come up in this? And he's like, just like grabbed me and just gave me the biggest hug and was like, you're gonna be okay. And I'm just like, to this day, still like I have not thought about that in a decade at least. That is crazy. But yeah, so it's not easy, but that's why I do what I do, because I know what these people look like, what tactics they use, how kids get in these situations. I think that's why I fight what I fight. We are going to Pride. We are demonstrating with the truck a little bit. We're gonna walk with it. And just like, hopefully just talk to people. Like, that's really good. Just say like, we're here, we're queer, whatever. But you know what I mean, we're here, we're queer. We have a right to be here. I'm just excited to be with my community, even if they may not like us right now. Once I'm there, I'll be like comfortable. Now I'm just like, I have to get there, I have to, you know, in my rush mind. But I'm okay, I'm happy.
I saw last year on your Instagram story that someone spit on the truck.
Yeah.
Is that like pretty usual? Do people get kind of aggressive?
Yeah, people get pretty aggressive over it, and it's not like we're showing something that's like lies, it's things from actual events, drag story hours, drag shows. So it's weird to be upset, but the truck's here. Woo! We got the truck. So cool. I'm just happy we met the truck. That was my goal. I was like, I just wanted that. Hi. How are you? Okay. So we got the truck, but it's literally right in front of the Act Up location. That's crazy. Truck.
Body's not for kids. Parents take your children.
This is a good spot. No one's come over to talk to us. No one cares. It's like, it's so interesting to see. I'd rather that than the opposite. You know what I mean?
Should we do an Instagram post where we are? If you want to do it.
Oh shit, I forgot. Maybe not a post, but like
a picture or something.
Body's not for kids. Parents take your children home.
Oh yeah, just a quick picture and then you can go back to signing.
Well, it's creepiest family photo.
Body's not for kids. Parents take your children home.
Leave the kids alone.
Body's not for kids. Parents take your children home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Body's not for kids.
Huh?
Parents take your children home.
Can I ask you what shit you're tired of? Can I ask you that then?
God
I'm
save
trying
the
to get a
children on some
conversation.
weird kid being posted on a t-shirt saying,
Okay, so this
God-
offends you. Okay. Now,
It doesn't offend me, it's just
Can I ask
weird.
you, what about this? Do you think we
The
shouldn't
part
be
that
bringing
offends me the
attention
most
to?
about that, honestly, is the Gucci copyright infringement. This is permission to put their pictures up there.
We blur their faces.
We blur their faces off. What kid did you see there? What face do you see?
You're not gonna get so angry about getting.
I'm not getting mad. I'm just saying, like, make it make sense. All right, then why are you here?
I'm serving. I'm on a sidewalk. You put this here. What do you mean, why am I here? You put this in our face.
It's in your face all the time. It's fine. You support it, so then you should see what you support. You support
should
it.
talk one at a time.
Okay.
Because I realize
Fascinating.
So
I'm just saying, like, if you support it, then why is it a problem here? That's what I don't get.
can give what
Yeah,
you
the
say.
truck is free, right?
Is that what
We
you
paid
said?
for it, love. Maybe you didn't think about that. I know you don't really use your brain. I'm not mad, but it's just a pointless conversation to have with somebody. You don't want to ask. That's why I'm not. You want to be sassy. You want to be sassy over here. Don't want to answer any questions. So what is the point?
Some of your questions. You asked me specifically.
I can't. I can't.
Parents should be able to take their
Bye.
child to a strip club and have a woman.
You're acting like that with a woman, though. Like, that's the point. Like, that's embarrassing for you as a grown man.
Different to him because he was a 5-year-old.
Adios. I'm ready to walk. I'm over this.
But I'm just giving you an example. With some
You just can't argue with some people. It doesn't make any sense. Don't argue. You know? Like,
is about parental rights, and I was just expressing that, giving an example of why parental rights short.
As many already know, the Hawk-Took Bandits struck again this year and spitted on that thing once again, like they did last year, to show their love and appreciation for our hard work. They even got violently creative and took out their frustrations on the poor gag truck keying it.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
That was an experience for the Gag New York team and the gag truck. Hopefully we won't have to be out here next Pride doing the same thing, but if we are, don't be afraid to come out and have conversations with us.
I kind of want to know your thoughts on what the future looks like. Everything that we've talked about, what's the best case scenario, what's the worst case scenario?
Well, you know, I'm a Star Wars fan, and one of the famous sayings from Star Wars is by Yoda is that, you know, the future is hard to see because it's always in motion. I think the best case scenario is that at some point people realize that they're being manipulated and realize that these terrible and outrageous mischaracterizations of trans people that put people at risk are just totally false. I think the worst case scenario is that these conversations lead to ever more violence, to ever more discrimination, to the Supreme Court feeling like ruling against trans people is something that has popular support. And I think that if you had the election of an administration that has said that it would implement a series of anti-trans policies, that we as a country can find ourselves in a very difficult position on the equality of trans people. So those are the two things that I think about, and either of those scenarios is possible. I mean, I think that that's what's so fascinating about this moment is that we don't know how it's going to turn out.
I am there to spread joy and to read the books that I love and that they love and to just give them any amount of enjoyment in their day and to try to ignore the people outside that are yelling at us because it's not about them. This isn't for them. So I don't care what they're saying. I'm there to engage with the kids and to engage with the community. They're trying to control what we do and don't do. All we have to do to win is continue to do it. Go check it out. What's happening out there? No? Oh. Okay. Too scared.